What's up, you football degenerates? It's SOG Football here, back with another list. Today we'll be dropping our power rankings going into week 2 for the NFL season, ranked in tiers. So without further ado, let's get this going. I just want to say for context, this is not only the best teams right now, it's projecting the best teams going forward. I try not to overreact by week 1, but I'm only human. This one, not an overreaction. To start off with by far the worst team in the NFL, that belongs to the Carolina Panthers, who just lost to a Saints team that's not really that good. They looked lost without Brian Burns, and to add insult to injury, they also lost Derek Brown. This is by far the favorite for the first overall pick in the NFL draft next season, so at least Panthers fans have that to look forward to. Next up, close behind, is another dysfunctional quarterback team, the New York Giants. Get your Drew Lock chance out early because Daniel Jones looks awful. I will say the Giants defense looked capable, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue the season. Moving on to the Tier 5 teams, we have the Denver Broncos at number 30. I will say Bo Nix showed a little bit of promise, but it's clearly too early. Sean Payton's been hyping him up all offseason, but he struggled. You can't win that game with turnovers, and the defense struggled without Justin Simmons. And then next on this list is the Washington Commanders. I will say Jaden Daniels looked like a capable rusher, but you need to pass the ball to succeed in this league, unless you're like Justin Fields, who just has an unreal Steelers defense. But that's not the case for the Washington Commanders, who are pretty pedestrian on defense, and Jaden Daniels could not get any of the rhythm throws. You can't convert on third and longs, you can't succeed in the NFL. And then moving on, a team that actually won last week is the New England Patriots. This was pretty much the Ramondre Stevenson show. He ran over all the Bengals defenders that tried to tackle him, and the Patriots O-line did actually make some pretty big holes for him. The Patriots defense is elite, but Jacoby Brissett's not the answer. It's going to be tough for this passing offense to really succeed throughout the year, and I don't believe in them going forward. Moving on, one of the better teams in Tier 5, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. They could have won last game, but Antonio Pierce blew it. Questionable coaching decisions. I don't know what he was thinking. And this Raiders team has potential going forward, but I need to see more from them. Moving on to the first team of Tier 4 at number 26 is the Tennessee Titans. Man, they had potential. They could have won this game, but what a horrible interception by Will Levis. He clearly needs to work on his decision making, but I will say this Titans defense is pretty damn good. They've got talent all around, and clearly the addition of L'Jarius Sneed was a big one. And then next on this list at number 25, the team that just beat up on the Carolina Panthers is the New Orleans Saints. I was pretty low on this team coming into the year, and they did impress me, but I'm going to need to see them succeed against a team not as pedestrian as the worst team in the NFL. Next on this list is the Sam Darnold-led Minnesota Vikings at number 24. I was actually pretty impressed with Sam Darnold's performance, and he's got a lot of weapons to show for it. He's going to produce passing-wise if he really needs to, but I have a feeling it's just a matter of time before he makes those poor decisions, those Sam Darnold-esque plays, and cost the Vikings some wins. Next on this list is the Arizona Cardinals, who nearly beat the Buffalo Bills. I was impressed with Kyler Murray, even though he didn't find Marvin Harrison that key down that could have actually won them the game. That being said, they did show some promise on offense, but that defense is bad. Next on this list at number 22 is the Seattle Seahawks, that I actually think could easily rise in this list. I love Devon Witherspoon. I love Tariq Woolen. I think they might be the best cornerback tandem in the entire NFL. Other than that, this offense was not very good. Geno Smith could not make the rhythm throws, and it was pretty much the Tyler Lockett and Kenneth Walker show. More Kenneth Walker. And then the overhyped Atlanta Falcons at number 21. I was overhyping them too. I thought this team was stacked with talent. I thought Drake London had the chance to break out, but he did not. He had an awful game in game 1, and most importantly, Kirk Cousins looks washed. And now we move up to the Tier 3 teams, the disappointing number 20 Cleveland Browns. I still think this Cleveland Browns defense has a top 3 defense in the entire NFL, but holy crap did Deshaun Watson look bad. They were up against a top tier Dallas Cowboys defense, but that's no excuse for how bad he played. And then moving on is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who kind of blew their game. They had the potential to win it against a pretty damn good Miami team, but Trevor Lawrence is not performing like he's getting paid. If you're going to get paid top quarterback money, you got to perform, especially in those key situations, which you just couldn't seem to capitalize on. And then next up is a team that actually very much impressed me week one. They nearly beat the Philadelphia Eagles, but this is going to be tough to win without Jordan Love. They now have Will Levis at quarterback, and he's not the answer. You saw him in that last down. How do you not get rid of the football there? You take a sack when you should have just heaved it up for the Hail Mary. And then moving on is the Los Angeles Chargers, another team that impressed me. It's clear they're going to rely on the run. J.K. Dobbins with a little bit of a breakout. Congratulations to him coming back from that Achilles injury. The Harbaugh way is going to be running the football, but I don't think this Chargers defense is as good as people think. And then next up at number 16, another overhyped team. This Bears team is stacked with talent all around, but Caleb Williams looked horrible in his debut. It's actually a mystery how the Bears snuck away with the win here. But that being said, a win is a win, and they have some talent going forward. Next up is a Bucs team that also really surprised me. Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He looked magnificent. He knows he wants to go where he wants to go with the football, and that's to Mike Evans. This defense does have some question marks. They lost a couple key players from last year, but they have Antoine Winfield, Levante David, recipe for success. And then next up is the disappointing New York Jets. We already talked about Kirk Cousins looking washed from his Achilles injury. The same can go for Aaron Rodgers, who could not make those rhythm throws. I saw him miss throws that he would never usually miss, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he recovers and how he gains that chemistry going forward. And then the common theme of disappointing. Joe Burrow does not look right with this wrist injury. I will say that the Bengals beat themselves against the Patriots. The tackling was horrific. The offense was horrific. And if there's no healthy Joe Burrow or healthy T. Higgins, this team has no chance. And then we're going to number 12, the Indianapolis Colts. Wow, Anthony Richardson impressed me. That throw that he made was unbelievable. Stumbling off his back foot, making that heave was insane. It's also clear that there was a couple inches away throws to Adonai Mitchell that could have been the difference between winning and losing that game. They lost against a very, very good Houston Texans team, and I'm very, very excited to see how this Colts team goes going forward. And then moving on to the number 11 Los Angeles Rams. It sucks that they lost Puka Nacua, but Matthew Stafford is a tactician. He's going to find ways to win, and clearly that's going to be through feeding Cooper Kupp and Kyren Williams the ball. I'm not much of a believer in this Los Angeles Rams defense, though, and that has me worried. It's very young. It's very questionable going forward. And then next up is the Miami Dolphins, who have their game tonight against the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in a tough nail-biter of a game. I will say this offense did not look as explosive, but I don't question that going forward. And then the number 9 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a defensive game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is elite. TJ Watt is an absolute menace, my favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, and it's clear they just, on offense, don't turn over the ball. Let the defense win games, and that might be the recipe to keep Justin Fields on the field. He did not force any throws. He used his feet, and that's going to be the way to go. Just don't turn over the ball. You're going to win games with this defense. And then, of course, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who offense did look a little suspect against an elite Cleveland Browns defense. But, man, their defense looked great. Micah Parsons is an absolute menace, just like TJ Watt. And I think CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott are going to have no problems dominating for the rest of the season. And then we have the Houston Texans at number 7 with CJ Stroud led. It's pretty insane that I saw Stephon Diggs with 2 touchdowns considering he only had 9 air yards. I think Nico Collins is the alpha on this team, and Nico Collins is going to go on a rampage this season. This offense is stacked, and this defense is surprisingly stacked. They added talent, and I believe in them going forward. DeMeco Ryans, you're doing a great job. And then at number 6, we have the Buffalo Bills, who I kind of, now that I'm looking at it now, want to move them down. I don't believe in this defense. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost Jordan Poyer. There's a lot of moving pieces. They don't have Matt Milano until probably later in the season. And then on offense, they lost pretty much their talent offensively. At receiver with Stephon Diggs gone, I like Shakir. I like the potential of Keon Coleman, but there's a lot of moving pieces that makes me think that this might be the worst Bills defense in the last couple years. And then we have a team that lost in Tier 1, the Baltimore Ravens, but they lost to a really good Chiefs team. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to make this pedestrian offensive line work, but I am a little worried about Derrick Henry. I'm impressed with the defense, and I think this is a good enough team to be a top 5 team going forward. And then with the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts struggled with the 2 turnovers, but I'm not worried about him going forward. He has too much talent, and it might be the tush push is done. But does that really matter when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, an absolute monster at the running back position, who I view right now as the best running back in the NFL behind this O-line? This is going to be an insane rushing team going forward. And then number 3, we have the gritty, the Dan Campbell-led Detroit Lions, who are also stacked with talent. It's clear with all those first rounds they've acquired over the years from just sucking, they just are. There's not a weakness on this team. The rushing, the passing, the defense. This is a stacked team, and one of my dark horses. No, not even a dark horse to win the Super Bowl. And then at number 2, we have the San Francisco 49ers, who just dominated the New York Jets. This defense is unbelievable. This offense is unbelievable. Brock Purdy is the perfect fit for this Kyle Shanahan offense and has all the weapons around him to dominate. Christian McCaffrey doesn't matter. Jordan Mason comes in. It's just so talent-filled that no matter who's there, it seems like they're going to succeed. And then the number 1 team, I mean, someone's got to dethrone them. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't really have them anywhere else but number 1 until someone beats them. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, enough said. And that concludes my list. This is a nice and short video. I mean, I love doing these lists. I'm going to keep doing them. I'm going to get better at it. I know I did a little bit of rambling here. I want to say, too, if you're a sports bettor, go ahead and follow my Discord. I'm going to include it in the comments below. I'm up $2,500 in the first weekend of betting, and I only bet $25 to $50 per slip. I'm going to keep going hard. Free Discord, free sports picks. Easy said than done. Anyways, if you guys like this list, please leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff. I'm going to keep doing lists, power rankings, tier lists for all the positions. Appreciate you guys watching this video, and cheers.